Out west, campaigning in Las Vegas, Trump doubling down on immigration, saying he will start mass.
No, she literally straight up was like, "Oh no, you don't understand. I'm different than I'm a new generational Democrat." And it's very frustrating for me seeing this happen, trying to point to history, trying to explain to people that the Democratic Party is not only up the immediate bag in front of their eyes in terms of like winning the election, but the Democratic Party is also obviously, with this kind of capitulation to right-wing framing on issues, especially as it pertains to immigration, are not only hurting their chances electorally, but they're also hurting the country. Okay, they are causing irreparable damage by not actively counter-messaging against this kind of. And here you have it. You got Haitian migrant stories running rampant. Okay, that's precisely the reason why the libtards that come into this goddamn community don't screech at me about mass deportations. Why don't they screech at me about mass deportations, you might wonder? Oh, if Trump wins, there's going to be mass deportations. You want Trump to win? They don't say that. Why? Because the Democratic Party's official policy on it is, yeah, Trump wants to do mass deportations. Let's not talk about that. We want to do the best deportations, actually. We want to do the best, strongest border policy. We're outflanking Trump on the border policy. We want the deportations too, actually. That's why the libtards don't come in here and talk about deportations all of a sudden, because now they're pro-deportations, because they're bots. They're NPCs. Anyway.
Have just over 50 days to go until Election Day, and the sprint to November 5th, it is on. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President
Nigel Farage has a higher net approval rating than Keir Starmer. Oh my God. Oh my God, we're so cooked. Oh my God. Oh my God. Globally, we're cooked. It's happening faster than I thought it was going to. Okay? It is happening faster than I thought it was going to happen. That is crazy. The guy here, Nigel Farage, just did a pogrom. Okay? A pogrom. They did an Islamophobic, like, mass lynching campaign in the UK like a month ago. Okay? One singular month ago. He did an anti-Muslim pogrom. That's crazy. Wow. Wow. Good stuff. Good stuff. Two polling things if you want to touch on them. Here are all the post-debate national polls. YouGov plus DFP found Harris over Trump on the economy. The YouGov Yahoo poll found Harris beat Trump on every issue except immigration, including the all-important cost of living, 45-39. Harris, post-debate polls, happy Saturday. Yeah, all the polls showing +5, +4. That's why I said she's going to see at least a minimum +2 bump. And that the one poll that they showed on CNN was probably too early to tell when we were looking at the Harry Enton coverage on it, because she was like, she definitely is going to get a bump from this debate. I mean, she clobbered Trump. And yeah, so she did. Question is it enough? You know, maybe, probably. This is why I still have not run on the Donald Trump is going to win if she keeps doing this attitude overall. I keep telling you, don't worry, liberals. You know, your joyful campaign will probably inevitably yield a Democratic Party victory because of the overarching dissatisfaction that people have with Donald Trump. It just shouldn't be a race to the bottom. It shouldn't be a race, a mirror race of like who can be the worst and still eke out a marginal victory. Why hasn't Walz or Harris publicly denounced the neo-Nazi lies about Haitians? Seems like a no-brainer. Because they are completely locked in on it, okay? They already tied themselves to this issue. They already tied themselves on the right-wing framing. When Joe Biden on October 5, 2 days before October 7, came out and said, we wrote a right-wing border bill and we are going to push it and we are going to get Donald Trump to, say no to it because he cares about he wants to use this as an issue to make himself, win the election or whatever, like whatever they were doing then. I told you this was the thing that they could have done, and they did. I'm sure I have coverage over here specifically on this issue. Let's see. I extensively talked about this. Let me see if I can find it. It was before, it was much, much longer than Did Hasan blast off? I did. Most libs I know our age are going from Dem to Green Party or not voting at all. Over 1.2 million Haitian Americans, decades of Haitian migrants coming in and pet eating and cannibalism. Isn't the UK's economy problems because of right-wing policies, or is it the downfall of public service? Yeah, it is right-wing policies that created the downfall of public services. I want to find an older YouTube video of mine, if we can find it, from like when they first announced this right-wing border bill, or at least a tweet, because I tweeted about it back then. I want to do a I told you so moment here for a second. Okay? They should have used Trump's rejection of the right-wing border bill to go, we gave him a chance, now we're moving forward a more empathetic immigration reform. No, they should have never pushed for that to begin with. Okay? They should have never pushed for that to begin with. Does anyone have a tweet of me back when like they first announced this? They first announced the proposal. I mean, that's like, oh yeah, here it is. This is like literally the day of. When Biden and the Democratic Party capitulate the right-wing framing on issues, they lend the reactionary propaganda credence. The only issue with immigration is not letting people enter legally and offering them tools to integrate and work. There is no lump sum of labor. Undocumented immigrants are responsible for less per capita than U.S. citizens. Their utilization of the welfare state is marginal, and they pay taxes. Drugs don't come through the openings in the border on Abuela's lap. They're trafficked through ports inside of American cars. Oh, look at that. Look at that. October 6th. This was one day before October 7th. This is when he launched the border bill. Breaking. President Biden enacts Trump's white nativist immigration policy he ran against only 4 years ago.
On Capitol Hill, Senate leaders from both parties say they're backing a breakthrough plan to control immigration at the southern border. Now, it's part of a broader national security bill that took months to work out, but it's strongly opposed by many House Republicans and even some Democrats. Nicole has more on that deal.
Bro, this is giving like the exact same energy as when the Barack Obama administration tried to capitulate to the Republican Party and do bipartisanship and cut Social Security spending, and then the Freedom Caucus nuked it. It's the exact same situation being played out in front of our eyes, where like the grand bargain, famously, exactly. The Democratic Party, which, by the way, Joe Biden was also leading that charge last time. The Democratic Party keeps conceding and capitulating. Democrats love pushing bad policy and bad politics. All this bill does is normalize the white nativist position that immigration is actually a matter of national security. Republicans are always going to be able to out-racist the Dems. Warning signs. Alarm
But you have a
bells
better
being
chance
rung.
of being struck.
Video from October 8th, 6:21 for the border.
Dramatic reversal in the battle over the southern border. The Biden administration is pushing through a plan to add to a border wall in southern Texas due to a surge in illegal crossings. The White House is waiving more than 24 federal laws to do so.
Well, the White House is pushing back on the idea that this building of 17 miles of border wall in South Texas is being done because of pressure from even Republicans and even members.
Yeah, this will definitely work. I think we should always concede to like insane made up problems that Republicans claim are destroying America. That's the best way to go about it, especially after you campaign on the wall being. I think that's the best thing to do. Always make concessions to your enemy who owns a particular talking point, especially when you do that as a Democrat. All you're doing is basically conceding that this is a problem, and it's one that only they can solve. So there is no better way to duke it out than to capitulate to your enemy. It's always something that happens in American politics. It's weak. You're basically conceding that there is a major problem when there isn't one. And when you do that, one side is the masters at solving that problem. You yourself are always going to be seen as someone who doesn't really have it in their heart to fix it. One of the greatest examples of this exact story is when the majority of Democrats got together and voted without anyone asking on a messaging bill that said socialism, including Ro Khanna. Why would you do that? Are you that stupid? To the average Republican, they see you voting on that and think, wow, classic how these socialists are, that they are voting against socialism. It must be because they're stupid that they voted on socialism bad. Literally called denouncing the horrors of socialism. There's nothing funnier to me than being a Democrat and voting to pass a messaging bill, a resolution denouncing socialism, the horrors of socialism. The resolution overwhelmingly cleared the chamber in a 328-86-14 vote. The majority of Democrats, 109 of them, voted with all the Republicans for the resolution, while 86 voted against it and 14. So here's the thing. This is the difference between me and charlatans who simply change their attitude and their commentary on the whims of the Democratic Party. The reason why they get wrong, and their fans will come in and say, "What's up, grifter?" The reason why they consistently find themselves wrong and also on the wrong side of issues, and the reason why I'm always right, is because I made up my mind by looking at the empirical evidence. I made up my mind and have a coherent worldview. I have a moral compass that guides my political framework. Okay, that's it. This person doesn't have anything. He's just a rudderless ship. He just has he's jumping, I assume, from one YouTube commentary channel to the next to make up his mind. Please, I will treat you like an adult with a coherent worldview. I believe in you. You can make up your own mind. Okay, stick around. You will be able to, I assume, make up your own mind on this. All right. Instead of just coming in here to repeat whatever talking point that you watched on a YouTube video, make up your own mind about whether or not I truly believe the things that I'm saying or I'm simply grifting. Okay? That's it. And also, in the process, you will be served a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour, unless you subscribe. You have in the past. So, maybe you'll do it again. Because at the top of the hour, there is a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. By connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, you get 1 free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster. Hopefully that's me. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Trump might lose because of this immigration panic. He's going to stick to policies, Trump. No, that is his policy. That's his bread and butter. He's just leaning too much into it because he has no, the only tactical thing that's happening from the Democrats also capitulating the right-wing framing is that Donald Trump is getting way, way, way out of control. The problem is they're not actually going, see, that's crazy. He's saying crazy. If they were to, at the very least, turn around and be like, look at how crazy this guy is. Look how weird this guy is. He's just making it up. Don't you think that's weird? He just wants you to hate your neighbor. He has basically gotten enough rope to hang himself at this point. It's not the story, but the word Hitlerian. That's interesting. Only you have used that. You started a trend. God, my favorite streamer strikes again. Hitlerian Trump vows to deport Haitians legally. I mean, I have been using that quite a bit. It's Hitlerian rhetoric. USA Today columnist Rex Hupka wrote on social media in response to Trump's statement. I mean, I didn't invent it, but I have been using it quite a bit. Look, back in 2021, March 15, 2021, border crisis completely manufactured. There has always been a crisis under every admin, but the media is portraying this from an incredibly reactionary point of view. The crisis, in and of itself, is actually the inhumanity and the mistreatment of people crossing the border. That's the real crisis, okay? It is a humanitarian crisis. It's not a crisis where they are, invading the country. You use the word about this story specifically a lot too. Yes. Trump still wins easily due to your electoral college. Sad for you lot. No. These couldn't find a single Democrat who was busing migrants over the border into liberal cities, so they just started doing it themselves. It's exactly the same meme as Steven Crowder cross-dressing, pure projection. There were so many opportunities for the Democratic Party to launch a counter initiative against people just, basically human trafficking a ton of migrants into other states deliberately to use them as pawns in their political strategy. These are human beings. And they didn't do a single thing about it for years. And I've been calling this out since the first couple of days of the Biden administration, when we saw Biden's border guards whipping Haitian migrants on horseback. Okay? I told you this was going to be a massive problem. Very, very, very frustrating. Yes, I blasted off already. Okay? Anyway, here, let's take a look at the race as it stands now.
And Donald Trump are hitting the campaign trail in critical swing states. The race is still very, very tight. ABC's Mary Alice Parks joins us live now from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Mary Alice, good morning.
Yeah, Gio, good morning. This is a pretty small town, only about 44,000 people. It's a county where former President Trump won twice. But Harris had a rather large, energetic crowd last night with several thousand. She seemed to tailor her pitch. She talked more about being a prosecutor, about specifically going after Mexican cartels, about wanting to create jobs for people that don't have a college degree. All of it seemed to be an attempt to try to chip away at Trump's support here.
Good evening,
Vice President Kamala Harris overnight campaigning in central Pennsylvania in a county former President Trump won twice, hoping to chip away at his support.
We need a president of the United States who works for all the American people and that just stops with all the trying to divide us. Like, people are exhausted with that stuff.
Anchor Brian Taff from our Philadelphia station, WPVI, sitting down with Harris for her first interview since debating Trump.
I think some people have a question, given maybe your current role as Vice President of the United States, how different you are from Joe Biden.
Well, I'm obviously not Joe Biden. And, you know, I offer a new generation of leadership. And so, for example, thinking about developing and creating an opportunity economy where it's about investing in areas that really need a lot of work.
Out west, campaigning in Las Vegas, Trump doubling down on immigration, saying he will start mass.
No, she literally straight up was like, oh no, you don't understand. I'm different than I'm a new generational Democrat, different than Joe Biden, which is why I'm going to do exactly the same policies as Joe Biden, like some of the good ones as well. All right. And then also I'm going to add my own stupid proposal to it. Like, what, you think Joe Biden doesn't care about small businesses? Like, what is this argument? Like, oh man, I'm going to be so different than Joe Biden. I'm different than Joe Biden, except not at all. It's 2019 border talk tweet talking about Biden and the Dems. Wait, Biden is not in favor of border crossings. This entire video is about supporting Biden, lol. Who was I responding to? On HBO, Bill Maher frets, all the Democrats have to do is win, is to come off less crazy than Trump. And of course, they're blowing it, coming across as unserious people who are going to take away all your money so migrants from Honduras can go to college for free. Lol, yeah, to beat Trump, we just have to be 30% racist, not 100% shaking my head. Josh Murbitz. I mean, he didn't block me. I think he's just protected. It's a protected account. Anyway, yeah. Vindicated again? Of course, dude. Of course I'm vindicated. It's not even a vindication, though. The problem is, like, I knew this was coming, and I've been screaming about it for months and months and months and months and months. I've been screaming about it for years on so many instances. I was like, you guys are being stupid for this. Okay? For years. It's not even months. And the worst part about it is, it's not like this was shocking. Like, what? You think the Republicans are not going to pull the immigration lever to try and win the election? Why is there a caravan every 2 years whenever there's a midterm? All of a sudden, there's a caravan of migrants coming in, and it's an invasion. Like, are you stupid? This is what they do. They keep pulling that lever all the time. How the f do you not counter? How do you not have decent counter messaging against this dumb dude? I hate this. I hate it. It's bad policy. It's bad politics. It's just so stupid. And this is absolutely creating an environment where these guys can let their freak flags fly once again. And if all you care about is like, oh, well, when they show their freak flags, more people will be scared to vote for the Democratic Party, you're a bloodless, monstrous piece of who doesn't care about the inevitable outcome, especially when if the Democrats win and they do push this right-wing border bill, then what's the difference between them and Donald Trump? Then you should have just voted for Donald Trump in 2020 because she's pushing Donald Trump's 2020 border proposal. Why didn't you vote for Donald Trump then? I guess you don't give a f about immigrants. I do. I give a f about immigration. I do give a f about these issues that I talk about. You don't.
Deportations, specifically in Springfield, Ohio, after this week repeating false claims he made at the debate about Haitian immigrants hurting pets in that town.
And I'm angry about illegal Haitian migrants.
What about legal immigrants? You know what's funny about this? The Haitian migrants are legal. The difference between a legal immigrant and an illegal immigrant is just paperwork, okay? It's simply paperwork. That's it. And the Haitian migrants have paperwork. They have TPS. They're refugees, okay? And so do the Venezuelans. They have their paperwork. They are literally legally inside of the borders of the United States of America, which is why when they say illegal immigrants, they're actually lying. They want them to be illegal. Like, they want them to be illegalized, okay? That's it. There's also probably a good reason as to why, and I just can't seem to put my finger on it. This kind of sentiment never existed about the 187,000 Ukrainian migrants, Ukrainian refugees that came into this country. And and are working alongside the rest of the refugees that are now working inside of the U.S. borders. Why is there no argument against them in the similar fashion? Because they're white, okay? And I have no issue with the Ukrainian migrants. Obviously, this community fundraised so that they could come into the United States, okay?
Does your monologue from
a lot
3 days ago?
of people that vote for Republicans don't actually associate the real negative consequences of the legislation that they're signing on for. This is a well-documented phenomena. This is something that plagues American politics, and it's something that plagues politics in general. People genuinely think, oh, I'm voting for this guy because this, right? They don't really consider how those policies are going to end up harming themselves. A great example of this is obviously on the issue of abortion. There are plenty of Republicans that voted for the Republican Party. They didn't really care about abortion rights being restricted. And now they're like, oh my God, this is actually devastating. What the fuck? Because all of a sudden, there's no way you can message out of it. Everybody now knows you are responsible for all of the women in places like Texas, in places like Ohio, that can't get ectopic pregnancies dealt with because Republicans shut that access off. They are responsible for it. They have to live with that reality. Do you understand?
Have you reviewed the CNN stuff yet? No, I haven't. It's on here. Speaking of which, it's on the docket somewhere around here. Hasan's a pretty cool dude, even if you don't have... Hasan's a pretty cool dude when you don't have someone on Twitter telling you he's an evil person. That's a good tweet. Oh, here it is. Misinfo Nation with Donnie O'Sullivan. Misinformation, the Lost Left, Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time on CNN. I'm featured on this documentary that he did, this short doco that he did. This is another slot from CNN where he's promoting it. Let's take a look.
What is it about some of these guys that has made them go from far left to far right?
Like every young man at a certain point in their lives have like had some kind of insecurity, whether it be about their sexuality or whether it be about like their future prospects or whatever. And I think that like a lot of these guys take advantage of that and present this false narrative that like, in order to be a man, you got to be like homophobic. It's like, no, a real man is going to want to protect people who are marginalized.
All right, Donnie O'Sullivan with us now. Wow, I mean, this is pretty eyebrow-raising and surprising. What surprised you?
Hey,
wait, why is that eyebrow raising and surprising? You're like, wow, this dude who's brolic as hell with the sleeves busted off, talking about true masculinity.
Right, yeah. Who you heard from there, his name is Hasan Piker. He is on Twitch, which is a video game streaming platform. He's got about 3 million followers. Oops, I'm sorry. That's my Twitch going off right there. He's got about 3 million followers there. And look, this is a whole new world of where young people, and really people of all ages, are getting their information and misinformation. So on video game platforms like Twitch, people are also discussing politics. They talk about politics all day. They discuss politics. And some of the men we met on this journey for misinformation for the whole story with Anderson Cooper were guys who spend most of their time online, many hours a day. They feel disillusioned. They feel left behind by politics. They were formerly Bernie bros just up until even as recently as 4 years ago. They don't see a material change in their life. They are getting more frustrated as they stay online, and they have moved all the way to MAGA, but even beyond that, to the very, very, very far right and into really hateful and extremist spaces online. I met 2 of them. Take a look at this. But the men that we met here weren't always this way.
She wants you. She tweeted that she wants to come on your stream. Who are you talking about? Chatters is just like hallucinating crazy ass nowadays.
My name's Jackson Hinkle.
Like a few years ago, Jackson was campaigning for progressive causes.
I was BLM originally. BLM has been co-opted by NATO, by the government.
And Adam, a.k.a. Charmhole, had changed as well. So you used to be a big liberal. You used to be a big liberal.
Absolutely.
A big Democrat.
Yeah.
You were a Bernie bro?
Bernie bro, through and through.
I wanted to find out what had made them change. Why do you think the Russians like you?
I speak truth.
Good to see you, man.
American politics is schizophrenic. You got one side saying you're crazy.
I love that this guy's like, American politics is schizophrenic. And let me tell you something, okay? I am too.
You got the outside saying you're crazy.
Yeah, one of the guys you saw there, Jackson Hinkle, who I asked, why did the
Not the guy in our Discord that got banned for saying circumcised people count as trans people? Shut the up. Wait, that guy with the glasses he got banned from the Discord? Charmhole was a mentally ill chatter I banned 3 years ago? God, I'd have thought you knew that. No, I didn't know that. No, I don't know any of this, bro. I don't know. Listen, what you see is what you get, okay? What you see from me, this is what I do online, yap about politics. That is what I do, and that's the only thing I do. This was a 22-month subscriber. I was banned from your Discord by transphobic moderation. I was attempting to debate transsexual issues, and they got mad. I'm such an epic debate lord. Want to debate? Did I miss the big announcement? What was the announcement? And this guy got banned in 2020. He was a 22-month subscriber. Oh my God. Harasses multiple users of the community in their streams. Unbanned through unban form. Denied unban after asking Britta for input. Never unban. 20 hours ago. What is this? Sup, Haas mod. Haha. I got banned by Haas Daddy 2 years ago for saying the word transsexual in chat. Could you revisit this ban for me and hopefully resolve it? I'd greatly appreciate. Thanks. No, but I heard he rescinded his take on that word. And then trans pride and then intersex pride. And 4/8/2022. No, those are global Twitch emotes that he's using. I did not know any of this. To talk about the common denominator and Bernie Bros turning to MAGA turds is getting banned in the chat. I think Felix Biederman and myself, Felix by not replying to his reply guys or not liking their tweets, and me just like banning some of the most unhinged people in this community have probably created more enemies than we care to admit. Okay. Obviously it's not my fault, but god damn, dude, like I try to steer this ship in a positive direction on a daily fucking basis, you know? Here's his Twitter. Watching Hasan the Hun and by your logic commit massive amounts of white labeled hogwatch and getting away with it on Twitch. Disgusting behavior. Cancel culture only ever seems to work one way. Please report for hate speech and thank you. Donnie kind of group you with these loons? No, dog. If you can't understand what he's doing there to show that there is like a foil to this kind of misinformation, I don't know what to tell you. He's not saying I'm like them. He's saying there are normal people out there as well who are working actively to try and you know, counter this misinformation.
Russians like you so much. He's a 24-year-old from California. 8 years ago, he was a Bernie kid, basically. He was picking up trash on his beach in California, was working on progressive causes, and now has made this, just over the space of a few years, this very hard turn right.
Wow, I mean, real hard turn. So what are their views on Kamala Harris?
They're not big fans. And look, I mean, these guys are steeped now in the world of MAGA, but I think it goes far beyond that, and it's something that we are seeing in the US, but also all around the world, is this kind of radicalization of men, men who are feeling disillusioned, who feel like they've been left behind in some sort of ways, and there are people.
These guys are pissed that you're being shown as a fool that are bitching in the comments about how you're not a real leftist. Yeah, dude, if you're considering yourself to be MAGA in any way and then also simultaneously trying to hold on to the idea that you're some kind of leftist, you are the biggest delusional person on the planet. I need to make something clear. I hate the Democratic Party for their closeness in policy to the Republicans. Okay? If you can't understand that, I don't know what to tell you. That's it. That's it. There is not a single thing that the Republican Party advocates for or MAGA advocates for that I find to be good. And my hatred for the Democratic Party stems from the reality that they cave and capitulate to the right on a regular fucking basis. Do you understand? There is no world where I just like go, oh, I'm MAGA now. Like, that's not a thing. That's not a real thing. It's despicable. It's disgusting. And I despise the Democrats for not actively fighting against it and sometimes directly leaning into that narrative. Okay? It is antithetical to my worldview. I think it's antithetical and incompatible with human values. And I think it's gross and disgusting that the Democrats even dare to lean into some of these weird, like completely fascist perspectives that the Republicans have. Okay? The immigration conversation is a perfect example of this. So no, of course I have no. So of course I have no interest in people like this who consider themselves to be MAGA. You are a liberal, okay? You are the thing you hate the most, a person who simply has hyper-focused on the aesthetics, a victim of the culture war. Because what's the difference between MAGA and liberalism in that situation, or the Democratic Party in that situation? You're just a liberal. Oh, trans people exist and that pisses me off. I want healthcare, but I also want trans people. Okay, you're MAGA. I found the Discord logs. If you're cut, you're trans. Simple as debate me. He's not talking about trans issues is transphobic. Sometimes you gotta, recognize that people are just mentally unwell. This is one of those individuals, it seems.
People online, influencers are online. There's a whole manosphere, it's called, on the internet, of playing into these guys' insecurities, their grievances, and really radicalizing them.
Fascinating. All right, we'll be watching for more. Donny O'Sullivan, thank you so much. Don't miss.
Didn't he interview at the DNC? Yeah, Donny interviewed me at the DNC. These guys aren't the real leftists. If anything, they try to co-opt a few socialist parties in the States by trying to take over CPUSA, and when that didn't work, they split off and made the ACP. I know, it's just like a utterly irrelevant splinter that partially has, in my assessment, ties to maybe a federal agent. That's it. If you abandon your entire worldview because you got yelled at by a Twitch streamer, you weren't with it at all. Okay? It's crazy to me. Anyway, here's another tweet. Democrats in 2020, we will not concede an inch to the fascist Republican border policy. Democrats in 2024, Trump is the reason we can't fund the MAGA wall and stop the immigrant invasion. Just gonna repost this for posterity. Please answer my last question. I know you're going to time out or ban me. I just want to know if you've covered this. No, I briefly covered it yesterday. I haven't covered it. I didn't have enough time to cover it. I'll try and get to it today. Matt Nelson is who we were talking about, who self-immolated outside of the Israeli consulate in Boston.
Taking over Springfield, Ohio. You see that mess, don't you?
Local officials repeat.
Apparently in Vegas, he actually brought a friend of the show, Bryce. What's his name? Bryce Hall onto the stage as well. Dude, Trump is it is so easy to get on his good side. That's it. You just got to be like, I like him. And he will literally put you on stage, dog.
Repeatedly saying that Trump's claims are not true, but that they have created chaos and upended life for residents. Students evacuated, the FBI and local law enforcement investigating bomb threats to schools and the town hall. The mayor saying it must stop, that they need help, not hate.
They're not helping, they're hurting communities like ours with our words.
Our Terry Moran asking the former president about the ramifications for this town.
The mayor of Springfield, Ohio, the police chief, the Republican governor of Ohio have all debunked this story about people eating pets. And now there are bomb threats at schools and kids being evacuated. Why do you still spread this false story?
The real threat is what's happening at our border.
No. Bomb threats are not a threat. The real threat is what's Bryce Hall.
We need Trump back. Really bad.
This is hilarious to me because there's absolutely zero difference between him doing this and Little Pimp. Little Pimp. This is not a good thing. It's a bad thing. It is another glaringly obvious signal to those who understand a thing or two about politics that Donald Trump not doing great. Okay? Not doing great. Chalk that up to Trump not doing a great job. He's dressed like a 5-year-old who got permission to dress himself for the first time ever. I mean, that's his outfit is not the main point of contention I have here. Weren't you on the TMG podcast with Bryce? Yes. Bryce is a TikToker. He was a TikTok heartthrob. I think he's like a funny dude. And I thought he was a nice guy. And what ended up happening was he started doing bare knuckle boxing because everybody called him and he was pretty decent at it as far as I understand. He started winning, and I think he might have gotten CTE in the process because he went from being an open-minded, a relatively open-minded TikTok who's kind of funny to just leaning into the MAGA griff in what I suspected early on was like a meme for the most part. And then he full blown now is like, I guess, MAGA, you know? So many Americans get CT and become MAGA Republican. Yeah. But when Taylor Swift endorses Kamala, it's awful.
I'm allowed to criticize Taylor Swift, and I don't give a who gets upset. If she wants to vote Harris Walz, she can do it all she wants. But to say the reason she's doing it is because of Tim Walz's stance on LGBTQ, F you, Taylor Swift.
This has brought out all the demons. Here is an old demon that we... Why doesn't CT...
And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world. The first time this century. What? But let's understand. So where are we right now?
Okay, that's a good one. You know, hey, they ain't wrong. I'm going to run it back. It's funny.
And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world. The first time this century. What? But let's understand. So where are we right now?
As a veteran, how the fuck are they in a combat zone? What do you mean? There's still troops in fucking Iraq and Syria. What are we talking about? Bro, every other week, there's like, Iraq or Syria may not be designated as combat zones. I'm not positive, but they may or may not have lost their combat designations. They don't count. I mean, dude, there's definitely still troops in Iraq and Syria. What's funny about it is that there's always like another story about like Iran gave a concussion to one of our best troops in Syria or Iraq, and it's like, why are they there? You know what I mean? Why are they there? What do you mean? You didn't know this? Like, how do you think troops just like materialize underneath an Iranian campaign magically whenever there's like any kind of issue in the area, and Iran's like, oh yeah, we're going to retaliate by striking an American military base? What are they doing there? What they're doing there is exactly the same thing that they were doing in Afghanistan, protecting American material interests. Okay? Protecting oil fields. That's what they are doing. Now, technically, you might not consider that to be a combat zone, an active combat zone, but, you know, they're doing the same that they're always doing. American imperialism.
Make America great again.
Anyway, American units are active in Iraq right now. Yeah, but I don't think, maybe it's just not considered a combat zone anymore. Like, the designation might be different. I don't know. Like, technically, yeah, there are 2,500 troops left in Iraq. They are not considered in a combat theater. They're trained advisors, for example, how the trainers and advisors, that's just how the military does the wording. Yeah. Like, it's a weird situation because it's like in between. It's a country that you have invaded wholesale, right? You've completely invaded with on the ground, like active boots on the ground military warfare. But then beyond that, the designation changes when you withdraw most of your troops, but you still leave some behind for trainers and advisory positions. And they're there to protect the interests of America, obviously. But under the American designation, it might be considered one of the 800 military bases we have. There's like there's almost 200,000 troops that are active right now in overseas military bases. Right? But it's not considered a combat zone. Like there are a ton of American bases in Turkey, right? Those guys are not technically considered they're not in a combat zone, right? But with Iraq, it gets a little bit different because it's not necessarily just a NATO ally. It's not like the Marines in Okinawa, right? They are in an area that until very recently was an invasion. But yeah, shouts out to Bryce for being a brave and bold American. You can't even endorse Donald Trump no more. You know what I mean? Thoughts on Bryce Hall being promised a treasury role in Trump's office? I think we need more of that. We need more smart guys like Bryce running the show over there. You know, look at Nelk with Trump. They're like not even American, which is even funnier. His girlfriend is literally an immigrant. I think someone said she's Cuban from Florida. So, you know, it don't work that way. So, yeah. Battleground Blitz. The Pope is woke. Pope likens Kamala Harris to one whose children while Trump is committing a grave sin.
Arriving to thousands of supporters in Singapore is a man whose opinion matters to millions. Pope Francis on a 12-day international tour of Asia.
Bro's doing, he's just trying to be iShow speed, bro. Like, chill, dog, chill. You can't, you are not iShow speed, okay? You are not iShow speed. You're not speed. Stop. I bet you can't even do a backflip. I bet you cannot even do a goddamn backflip. What is he doing? Is he signing the baby's head?
And on a plane journey.
I saw the Pope jump over a car. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't do backflips. You can't jump over a Lamborghini. Okay? You got nothing. You can be an ecumenical Marxist all day, every day. Don't matter to me, okay? Until I see you doing some backflips, I'm not believing, okay? I am not a believer in Catholicism until I see that.
Back to Rome, asked by the press his thoughts on the two US presidential hopefuls.
Both are against life, whether it is the one who is chasing away migrants or the one that's children. Both are against life. I cannot decide.
By the way, he's not talking about abortion here. He's talking about, just so you understand, he's talking about, okay? Before people think like, oh, he's doing an abortion argument. No, he's not. He's not talking about abortion. I'm pretty sure he's talking about, he's talking about, he also hates abortion this much. I know he's anti-abortion, but I think he's also very anti. No, he mentions it separately. This is about abortion. Okay, never mind.
You must vote, and you must choose the lesser evil. Evil, that lady or that gentleman.
In an unusually vocal move, his subtle choice not to name the two candidates has raised questions about why he's speaking out at all. The issues touched on, though, abortion and migration, both key election issues.
The Pope is anti-abortion. Wow, crazy. Who would have thought? Yeah, I mean, that's a dog take. He's a Catholic, of course. It's about abortion. He's a total piece of Pope slams both Harris and Trump is against life and urges Catholics to vote for the lesser evil. Aboard the papal plane on Friday, slammed both the U.S. presidential candidates who called anti-life policies on abortion and migration. That's kind of surprising because I've heard him. I don't know if this is like a misinterpretation of what he was saying, because I know he's obviously anti-abortion, but he is definitely very, very anti-thing. Bro, why did you ever think the Pope was progressive? He's the head of the Catholic Church. He always has been and will always be evil. No, this Pope, guys, I'm ranking him on the papacy, okay? Obviously, it is a little different. Like the ranking changes dramatically when you're the Pope, okay? He's pro-immigration, okay? He's an ecumenical Marxist. Like he literally is. He uses the F slur regularly. Yeah, he's not a Catholic. He is the Catholic. This is the most progressive Pope that has ever existed, I think. Yeah, he's like accepting of LGBTQ plus, which is like insane to think. He is progressive for a Pope. Left is going to cancel the most leftist Pope in 1,000 years. Yeah, you're crazy. Like he is, bro, the Pope. Let me tell you something, okay? With the exception of the abortion conversation, this Pope is more progressive than the average American conservative. What are you talking about? Chatters are so funny. They just they laser in on one point and go, no, that's the most significant thing, and shut up. Who cares about all the other stuff that he's said? Like, he is literally more progressive than your neighbor, dog. What are you talking about? Like, your priorities are so unimaginably out of whack. Previous popes were like pro-Nazi, and what the are you talking about? This doesn't mean he's good. Aren't you saying we should demand more from our leaders? Do you think the Pope is democratically voted on? What are you? It's the papacy. What are you saying? It's the Pope, dude. It's like literally a remnant of old school theocracy, dog. What the? What the chatters? Y'all are crazy. Technically, he's elected by a council of cardinals. Yeah. Yeah, you got American Catholics being like, the Pope is a commie, I hate him. And chatters are like, the Pope elections be crazy. We can reform the Vatican if we just vote third party, bro. This Pope cares much more about than abortion. Yeah. Like, I hear him every now and then chirp about abortion, but I definitely have heard him way more about
Continuo a
Israel.
ricevere da casa notizie molto gravi e dolorose. Civili inermi sono oggetto di bombardamenti e spari. E questo è avvenuto persino all'interno del complesso parrocchiale della Santa Famiglia, dove non ci sono terroristi, ma famiglie, bambini, persone malate con disabilità, suori.
While he's progressive in most, he still stands on the opinion that trans people are evil and goes against God. Nah, you're wrong. It's just for publicity. They admitted they want to attract young people. Dog, ain't no young person is joining the Catholic Church, okay? That's not happening. It doesn't matter how they try to repackage Catholicism, okay? Who gives a... Also, this dude, if you know his background, is actually solidly, as far as like being a religious nut job, he's the Pope. Of course, he has like a lot of social conservative hangups. He's the Pope. I'm going to repeat this again. He's the Pope. He's the Pope. He is literally the Pope. He is not some random guy. He is Mr. Catholicism. Okay? In comparison to the rest of the Catholic popes that have existed prior, okay, he is insanely woke. Not even a question. Insanely woke. He's even like tried to deal with the pedophilia in the church as well, in the Catholic Church as well. So, like, he's gone above and beyond in terms of like the expectations from a pope. Okay? Just take the good and recognize it and move on.
Una mamma e sua figlia, la signora Navda Khalil Anton e la figlia Samarco Amar Anton, sono state uccise e altre persone ferite dai tiratori scelti mentre andavano in bagno.
He's also literally, the former pope was literally a member of the Hitler Jugend. Yeah. He's from Argentina. Yeah, he is from Argentina. But like, not the bad kind of Argentinian, okay? The good kind.
È stata danneggiata la casa delle suore di Madre Teresa, colpito il loro generatore. Qualcuno dice è il terrorismo, è la guerra. Sì.
Are you making the harm reduction argument with the Pope? There is no voting for the Pope, dude. Just use a massive figurehead that seemingly commands like hundreds of millions of people making solid pro-leftist arguments to your advantage. Leftists love looking at a good thing and just being like, now. You got the Pope being like, Israel's doing it, and you're like, I don't care. The Pope is not woke enough. What do you want him to like be pro-trans? Like, he's the Pope. What the are you talking about, dude? Like, I'm doing a purity spiral on the Pope. Is the Pope your problematic fave? Yes. I locked in on the Pope. I'm pro-Pope when he used the term, he used the F slur not once but twice in the gayest way possible. He didn't just say the F slur. He said it in a way where it's like only someone who is either gay or gay adjacent would use that term. Yeah. I don't like the Pope. He hasn't denounced Catholicism in all forms. Do you think he's zesty? Guys, he's the Pope. There hasn't been a Pope that wasn't zesty. What are you talking about? They dress up every day. What are you talking about? Of course it's the Pope. Of course, they're automatically zesty. All right.
Kamala Harris's support for abortion and Donald Trump's proposed crackdown on immigration under fire. And it's not the first time. About Trump's election campaign plans to build a wall on the border with Mexico, the Pope questioned his Christian faith in 2016 before a somewhat stiff meeting at the Vatican a year later on the new US president's first foreign trip. But how important is his critique?
I would say it's exceptional if he chooses to wade in to the degree he did. I suppose it reflects the stakes of the U.S. election. Everybody watches the U.S. election with great interest, and certainly they do at the Vatican. I would say, again, he was careful not to say vote for one or the other. But yes, probably he could have, I suppose, demurred or avoided the question more than he did.
Kamala Harris.
What can't be avoided is the choice American voters will soon have to make between Harris and Trump. Neither of November's choices, according to the Pope, preferable. Amelia Harper, Sky News.